Howdy folks. Alright, got another radio on the bench today. This is a Stromberg Carlson T-4, I believe is the model, from about 1954. Picked it up the other day. It's a little rough. It's missing, I guess, like a decal there. I'm going to use this to point. There we go. Yeah, so it's missing a decal. It looks like, I guess some of the numbers have kind of rubbed off because they were proud instead of embossed, I guess. I can't really tell. They're all very smooth. Does have the back, which is nice. I don't know if this cord is original because it is really, really long. Let's see. As you can see, there's a crack here that'll have to be fixed. And that kind of spreads out to there, but that shouldn't be a problem. Should be able to glue that, and it should sit flush and kind of blend in. And then here on the bottom, tube chart and schematic. Oh, actually, yeah, that's wonderful. There is a schematic on the bottom. Oh, but you can see it's got a chunk out of the bottom, but that shouldn't be too bad either because you're never gonna see that. Let me double check the schematic. Is it what I think it is? It should be. I have it upside down, of course. Why would they do it on the side with the knobs? Oh yeah, it's cracked all the way through there too, actually. I just realized. So that will, yep, there we go. Take some finessing. But yeah, looking at the schematic, there should be, though it's so tiny, but yeah, okay. It's a pair of 50 microfarad capacitors. I have already been inside this, but I have not powered it on yet. So we're gonna go ahead and let me get the cord here. There we go. Plug it into the ISO vac. The gentleman I bought it from did say he plugged it in and all he got was static, and there's a couple of surprises in this, so I think we'll kind of see why it was like that. Alright, so first of all, let's turn it on, turn the volume up a little bit. Okay. So, turn on the ISO vac, just to make sure it's not going, check the amperage, and we'll go ahead and take it up to about 20 volts. Check the amperage again. It's drawing like a tenth of an amp or so, it looks like. So we're gonna go ahead and take it up to 40. And it's not drawing anything else, so it seems alright to take up. I'm gonna go ahead and take it up to 60. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's go ahead. We'll take it up to 80. Should start getting something out of the radio soon here. Take it up to 90. Oh, and there it is. Oh, volume control does nothing. So, yep, I know what that is. That is definitely bad electrolytic hum. Okay, so let me open it up and I'll jump back in. Okay, so I've got the radio out of the chassis, and one of the first things you'll notice, it's supposed to have a ferrite rod antenna, and you can see on the back where that would have went. It's like an iron rod wrapped with copper wire for the antenna. So someone has just replaced it with an old coil. I don't think that's going to work very well, but who knows. Maybe at the time it did. Maybe real close to towers or something like that, and it was real easy to pick up. Chassis isn't too bad. There's little bits of corrosion. I don't think anything went here. This is the same chassis used in a clock radio model, and I think that's where the clock went. Otherwise, everything else, as far as I can tell, looks original. Stromberg tube. I can't tell what brand these are, but they might not be. But yeah, the first thing we're going to have to do, those grommets are looking kind of rough, but I don't think I have a replacement for them. Can I do it this one? No, it's not going to work. We're going to have to. Okay. This was kind of like that when I got it, but so it definitely had the electrolytics replaced sometime in the past. You know what? Looking at that power cord, I think the power cord's been replaced. Oh. I'm not sure. I don't think that's been replaced. I think that might be original. But yeah, this is not great. They were just kind of floating around in there with ends exposed. And yeah, they put, what, a pair of 47s in here? And yeah, there's like nothing on there. Wow. These are just absolutely bare capacitors at 160 volts. So I'm going to replace them with pretty much the same, a pair of 47s at probably have 160. I might have a little bit higher. Other than that, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, and 4 wax paper capacitors to replace, which will be real simple, but first things first, I'm going to swap out those electrolytics and try it again to see if we get anything out of it. Oh, melty. Very melty. Did that drip anywhere? No, it looks like there's just a tiny drop. Alright, yeah, just looking it over. I think that's just wax. Okay. Yeah, looking it over, it doesn't look like anything is damaged or anything like that. I don't see any broken resistors. But yeah, I'm wondering, I think the power cord was placed because you can see all the flux on there, whereas in the factory I don't think they would have used flux like that because you don't see it on any of the other solder joints. So, okay, let me fire up my soldering iron and I will replace those two capacitors. New capacitors are in there. That one's not the best, but it'll do. So, yep, got a pair of 47s in there, and don't worry, I am going to zip tie these and zip tie them down to the chassis there somewhere. I'm just leaving them hang out right now because it'll be easier to get to those capacitors. So, we are going to turn the volume up, and actually, let me put that back on. Oh, come on. There. Good enough. Okay, there we go. So now I can tune it. Okay. So we are plug it in. I'll make sure there's nothing. I don't want anything to short underneath here. I really need to clean my mat, but as you can see, the state of the things that I work on, my mat gets like this pretty much every single time I work on something, so at a certain point you just kind of roll with it. Anyway, let's plug it in to the ISO vac. Turn that back down. It's already on, right? Yes. Okay, we'll turn the volume up a little bit. Turn the ISO vac on. Turn my soldering iron off for now. Alright, we will bring it up again to about 20. Amperage looks about the same as it was. Shouldn't be getting anything out of it yet. We're gonna see how well that that coil works for an antenna. If not, I do have my testing antenna here that I can hook it up to. Alright, let's take it up to 40. Yep, nothing out of it yet. Okay, Amperage is the same. Take it up to 50 this time, go a little bit slower. Yeah, I usually go a lot slower than I did starting the radio up because I knew this one had been plugged in. I could, you know, be a little quicker with it, be a little lazier. Okay. I don't hear any pops or anything obnoxious, so we'll take it up to 70. I see filament glow. Okay, we'll take it up to about 90. So yeah, it's not doing the loud filter capacitor hum that it was doing. Is that... I don't see anything on that tube. I believe that's the 35C5, 35W, I forget what it is. But yeah, that is the power rectifier tube. And is it? I'm going to take it up to 100 just to see if we get anything. Okay, well, I'm hearing nothing, so give me a second, let me chop that off and I'll hook it up to my test antenna and we'll try this again. There we go. Test antenna's hooked up. Make sure nothing's touching, nothing to short, everything's good. Okay, we'll plug it back in and we're just going to run it at 100 because we know it worked at that. Oh! And there we go. Yeah, I don't think this is the right kind of antenna for this.
Morning. We'll simply pause to breathe in the rich.
And yeah, not picking up great. I'll have to see if I have an antenna. Oh, it should not be doing that though. I'm gonna have to look a little closer. It very likely needs an alignment. But, so, only real issue with this so far was bad electrolytic, so I'm gonna unplug it, flip it over, change out those wax paper caps. I'll have to do something about that hole. I have to look and see what I have. Also, oh, I can see it through the camera. There is a tiny bit of glow on that tube. But yeah, so we got another kinda dead radio up and running. Let me just finish this up. Alright, all new capacitors are in, so I'm finished up with that. Let's flip it back over and give it another test. Let me get stuff out of the way here. Okay. Need my antennas. Come on. You can make it. There we go. Okay. Plug it back in. Turn it all the way back down. This is hard, one-handed. I don't have a good place for my tripod at the moment. And honestly, the angle sucks anyway. Even if I do have a good place. There we go. Come on. Go on there. Okay. I do have it hooked up to the ISOVAC, the isolation transformer, but I try to keep good practice by only touching the knobs and not touching metal, because there's going to be one day where it's not hooked up to an isolation transformer and it's going to bite. So good practice is always try not to touch metal. Not when electricity is involved. Okay. Everything's out of the way, antenna's hooked up, we're all good. Okay. We're going to turn it back on. Check the amp draw. We're going to take it up to 30 amps. Still the same. That hasn't changed at all. Okay. We'll take it up to 60. Now, last time it seemed to have started to come to life at 70 volts, which is surprisingly low, but that's okay. Yep, I'm starting to see filament. Amp draw is still very low. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and just take it up to 90. And it should start coming to life and hopefully sound a little bit better than it did before. Oh, good. It's not really doing that thumping anymore that it was. It is not very loud. That is volume all the way up. Oh well, I am only at 90 volts. Let me take it up to about 115. There we go. That's better. That tuner definitely needs cleaned as well. Oh, nope, it's doing that again, huh? Should not be doing that. Okay, I'll go through, I'll check the tubes and see if any are particularly, like, weak or anything. I'm gonna clean up the tuner. I do need to, it's a mess, but I'll clean the cabinet and glue it. So, should clean up well enough. And then that'll pretty much be it for this radio. It doesn't... I'll have to figure out some things just to double check. We're gonna turn that off now. Yeah, just to double check what's up. And again, it probably needs an alignment. I have not really done that yet, so we will give it a go and try it. Right, and I need to tack down those electrolytics. That's right. Okay, so it's about lunchtime. I am going to take a break, so I'll come back. It'll probably be a little later in the day. It'll look a little different in here. Yeah, and then I should clean up the cabinet, get this thing all cleaned up, and get everything back together. And I think I have an idea for an antenna. I think I have a spare one somewhere. So, alrighty. Good morning, I am back. Yeah, lunch turned into a couple days. So, I just had some stuff to do, and then I kind of got lazy yesterday, Sunday, and just kind of took the day off. So, while doing that, though, I was still doing some research. So that motorboating sound at the low end of the dial, looking into what might have been causing that. So I have a couple of things. One of the first things I'm going to do is try it without the antenna hooked up and see if it still does it. And if it still does, I've got a couple of different things to try. Alright, so let's turn that on. Plugged into the isovac, and we're still probably at about 100 volts, so 110 actually. Okay, so turn that on. Let's give this a try. Do. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't do it without the antenna hooked up. So let's turn that off. Move. Ooh, I don't know what that was. Okay. Try with the antenna again. Oh no, I can't reach. Alright, hold on. Setting phone down. Okay, so back on, with the antenna hooked up, and try it again. And look at that. So, one of the things I was kind of wondering about is, alright, let's everything off again just to be safe. I'm going to slide on some tube shields just to see what kind of differences those make. Okay, so it's still happening there. Isovac off. Lift that up. I don't think this is going to make much of a difference. Okay, yep, so that's still happening. So I doubt it has anything to do with interference from the antenna. So one other thing I'm going to try is, how hot are you? Not very. Okay. Is a different rectifier tube. This is a 35W4, right? 35W4. Right? I can't see that too well. Yes, okay. So that's the right tube. So I know this one is good and working because I've used it in several other things. Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, that might be the wrong. No, it's going. There we go. Okay, interesting. So it is lessened. Okay, and that tube, it just looks healthy. What is... Are you gonna... Yeah. That white on the tip of it, I don't know if that's supposed to be there. I don't know. The only labeling on this tube, I can't figure out the manufacturer. The only labeling is Canada. So, I don't know. It actually does sound a little bit better. I think this tube was probably weak. I should test it up there on the tester, but I'm honestly probably just going to leave that one that's in there. But I'm going to have to source an antenna then if... Yeah, see, there it is. On the low end of the dial. I don't know if those kind of like loop or wrapped antennas are quite the same as the ferrite rod that would have been in here. So, I'm not too sure. There's a few different things that's causing that motor, could be causing that motorboating, and again, my suspicion is the antenna. I did say I was going to finish it up and zip tie those electrolytics, so those are snugly in place now. They're not going to flop around. They're not going to make contact with anything. So those should be all good. I will probably later do an attempt on an alignment, but not right now. So electrically, I think I'm pretty much done. I need to experiment with and try to find a replacement antenna. I don't think I have like a ferrite rod antenna to substitute in there. So I'm gonna have to just look around and check a couple of my parts radios to see what's available. Okay, I will be back in a bit. We'll have cleaned up the cabinet, and then we'll probably start gluing it and trying to get this back together and sourcing an antenna. Hey, just hopping back in here for a second. First of all, great song. But as you can see, I've hooked up an antenna that I had laying around. So yeah, not only am I getting more stations, but as you can hear, none of that motorboating or anything. So it was, I think it is my antenna. It's probably like the leads and I twisted around each other and stuff, and yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that was actually really easy. I found a solution. So.
Because it's so strong and it's so dangerous. I mean, of course. And now...
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that part's fixed. Okay, we are back. Cabinet is all cleaned up. It's looking a lot better. Not super dirty. It's still got... That's textured like something was on it, so the plastic is probably stuck like that. But all the dirt is cleaned up. It's looking a bit better. It's got some yellowing. It's got some discoloration. There was a sticker there, and you can see where it's kind of stained the plastic. You know, I did super glue the bigger cracks like that one. This one down here was split all along that base, and you see the big chunk there missing. There's a chunk here missing that leads to another crack along the side, so it's not really going to get much better than how it is right now. I'm not going to put a huge amount of effort into it. Still not really sure what I plan to do with this radio. I should get like a paint pen or something. I could give that some touch-ups or something, but honestly, I like things to show their age. I like them to have a little bit of character. This one is, it's never going to be a museum piece. It's rough, and it's going to be that way. Electrically, chassis is working all right. I forgot to point this out a little bit earlier, but let go. I did fix that hole in the speaker with some black nail polish, so should be good there. At least it sounded alright when I was playing around with it. We're going to put it back together and give it a test. I usually run my radios for a minimum of an hour after restoring them, and that's what we're going to do today. So let me put this back in the cabinet. We're going to turn it on, and we're going to run it at the full 120, 125 that my outlet's put on, just to see if anything heats up or otherwise goes quite unhappy. Here we are. Everything is back together. Got it seated in nicely. I have the antenna kind of taped down with just some Captain tape. I mean, it's held flush by the back being screwed on, but I figured just a little bit extra to stop it from flopping around. The more I've looked at it, the more I really like... Can I rotate this? Let me see if I can turn this towards the light. So not only does this include the schematic and tube chart, but it actually has an entire parts list, which is just awesome. That's fascinating. A brilliant thing. Brilliant move by Stromberg Carlson there. They really did make some great radios. Alright, there we go. So, we're just going to give it a test on, full mains voltage. So, plugging it in here. This is on, right? I believe that is a yes. Okay. Alright. Power it up. Give a moment for the tubes to warm up, and let's see what we get out of it. Messy drawer. Yep. Alright, well, something is unhappy, and I have my suspicion it's the way the antenna is in there. I might have to take a look and change where it's positioned, because I think right now it's... Hold on. Unplug. I believe it's... I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see. It curves up and over the top of it, which means it's like over top of the tubes and whatnot. So let's open it back up and take a look. The back off. I've unstuck the antenna. I taped it to the chassis and not thinking that's almost undoubtedly what the issue here was. So let's start it back up. Let's see if we can just bend that up and over maybe, so that it's not totally stuck down to the metal. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to fiddle around with the antenna to figure out the best way to put it in there, because yeah, that volume's maxed all the way out. So, alright, I'll be back in just a moment. Yeah, so it's probably going to take a little bit of effort to figure out where to get the antenna, because now it's coming through good, but as you can see, once I start moving it... Is there a break? I think there might be a break. Okay, so let me see if I can just maybe make some new connections and check it out. I went ahead and just made a new connection on there. Shh. Okay. Actually, yeah, that should be off too. Okay. So yeah, I went ahead and made a new connection on there. Let's give it a try. See if I can get a little more consistency with this antenna now. Is that another break? Okay, well, that's gonna take a little more finessing. I'm getting there. So it's definitely more consistent. I should probably maybe just shorten this a little bit or connect directly. Maybe the issue is that little strip. Yeah, it's looking like my antenna solution is not going to work here. It does not work at all. Once it's inside the cabinet, it gets basically nothing. I'm gonna have to work something out. I don't really want to build an antenna because I have to like count all the loops out, and I don't even know if I have enough enameled wire to do it. That's not a whole lot. I might not be able to get a big enough antenna out of that. I don't think taking that one off is gonna make a difference. I don't think that's gonna help at all. I do have some parts radios that I can look through. That's where I got this one from, was this very busted up Philco. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look around for a solution. Otherwise, I mean, electrically, the radio is done. It's all set. It's good to go. So yeah, I'm gonna source out an antenna. As long as I can find one that works. Again, I'm pretty sure this originally had a ferrite rod antenna in it, and it would have just been suspended in between this, so it wasn't on top of or over top of anything. It was on the back, up in the corner, you know, away from things. And I'm gonna see if I can replicate that. I don't really have like a piece of iron or anything. I'm gonna look around, but I think I'm going to call it here. I mean, the radio works. It's as clean and as put together as it's going to get. I just have to sort out the antenna. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this one. Like I was saying earlier, I paid $10 for it. I mean, honestly, it's probably not really worth much more than that, so selling it isn't really practical. Um, I might give it away to somebody once I get the antenna figured out. Or maybe I'm just gonna put it on a shelf, or honestly, I don't know. It's worth more than $10 in tubes that's in there, so I might just swipe all the tubes and put this in the parts pile too. So, anyway, that's it for today. I have two more radios coming up, at least two more that I picked up. That 1959 Zenith, which is cool, and then that 1934 Philco Tombstone that I'm very excited for. That's probably going to be a long, in-depth video that's probably going to take quite a few days of working. So that one I'm going to have to put a little more effort into, but hopefully it shows in the final video. Anyway, see y'all later.